And if you're not evolving, changing with the customer, then unfortunately you're going to be left behind.
Welcome to Rock Stars of Remodeling, a podcast presented by Pro Remodeler Media, where the best and brightest stars in home improvement share actionable insights with like-minded industry standouts like you. I'm your host, Drew Barto. I spent 13 years as the Director of Marketing for a replacement window and door company in Pittsburgh, where I learned a lot from some of the great minds in the home improvement industry. I aim to bring many of those voices to you on this show to help you gain more leads, close more sales, and boost your bottom line. Let's rock. Thanks for joining me. I'm excited to have as my guest on this episode Ian Foltz, Vice President of American Remodeling Enterprises and its sister company Epoxy Floor Experts. With projected revenue of around $20 million, Ian's businesses employ over 60 people who serve customers in much of central Pennsylvania and Maryland. Ian is responsive to today's busy consumer and proactively seeks software solutions to help his team close more sales faster. I've asked Ian to join me to discuss some of his favorite tech tools and how he's adjusted his sales process to better meet the demands of the modern customer. Hey Ian, thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Drew.
Now, could you begin by telling our audience a little bit about yourself?
I started in this industry, I was a junior in high school. I was 15 years old, needed a job. All my buddies were going to work at, fast food restaurants and, your typical places at the mall and small retail shops. They weren't making a whole lot of money, and I needed a job, and my buddy said, dude, you'd be great, doing phone sales and telemarketing. So you should interview at this company. And at the time, it was called Appleby Windows. And so I ended up doing that. And that was how I got my foot into the door to the home improvement business as a 15-year-old telemarketer, one of the only part-time employees that they had. And before I left there to go off into the Marine Corps and then to college, I had actually gotten promoted several times into a manager of overseeing the entire call center. So then when I got back out of the Marine Corps, I joined the ownership group that had left Appleby, while I was gone.
I love your story about starting in the home improvement industry at the age of 15, kicking ass, and continue to climb the ladder, so to speak, to where you are today as vice president. Now, when we talked last fall for an article I was writing for Pro Remodeler magazine, the subject of adapting to change came up quite a bit. So what does your sales process look like, Ian, and how has it evolved over the past few years?
Our sales process is one that, on the surface isn't going to change. I mean, we still want to be focusing on a one-night close. You get in there, you do a demonstration, and you sell that night. What we've done as a company, though, is we've simplified our sales process. A lot of companies have these 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-step, sales processes, and we've actually simplified ours to 5 steps. When we get into the home, we want to do a good quality introduction and create rapport and trust. And then we do a good quality inspection of the area, regardless of the product. We want to inspect what they have currently so we can create, the need for our product. Then we do a really high quality, value-added sales presentation so we can create then the need or the want for our product instead of the need then that we've already built on in the inspection. And then there's a couple of steps, within the 4th step, which is closing the sale, where you have to go over the product, the price, the company, the warranty, the installation, the back end support. All of those things are kind of combined into that. And then, a very important one that I think a lot of companies fall short on is we do a cool down with our customers, where we do a Google review, a Facebook review, some before pictures that can then go with the after pictures for our installers. We do a picture with our job sign, a video testimonial before. That way it all culminates into, the after pictures that are done by our installers, and then the after testimonial done by somebody in our social media department. And we find that those 5 easy steps are a lot easier to train and to duplicate than a 12, 13, 14, whatever step, process that, a lot of other places have. And that's why we see the 55 to 60%, closing percentages week in, week out, month in, month out, year over year.
Condensing the sales process down to 5 steps from 12 steps makes a lot of sense to me. But aside from reducing the number of steps, what are some other adjustments you've made to customer responses to your process over the years?
The thing that we run into as an industry, and I would hope other people in the industry are seeing this, is that this customer that we have now, they are more educated now than they've ever been. In fact, there's times where you run into a home, and sometimes the customer, is just as educated as you are. They've done a lot of research. They've watched a lot of, whether it be videos on YouTube, whether it be testimonials on Google, whether it's just researching the product. So I think that as the customer and the marketplace continues to be more educated, continues to do more research, and continues to know more about what it is that they're looking for, I think that you, as the home improvement professional, as the contractor, I think you need to continue to keep your process fresh. And if you're not evolving, changing with the customer, then unfortunately you're going to be left behind.
One of the things that stood out to me when we last talked was this line from a mentor that you shared with me. It's not the big who eat the small, it's the fast who eat the slow. I love that, and I think it's true. Along those lines, what advice do you have for companies that are resistant to change and slow to meet new customer demands?
Well, if you're not riding the wave, you're going to crash under it. And, it's incredible how many, things that we do nowadays post-pandemic that we would have never done 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, we have an entire division within our company that is dedicated to nothing but virtual sales. So I have a team of employees that are literally sitting in front of, their laptop or in front of a desktop computer with a webcam, and all they do is sell virtually. Part of our division is solar sales, and we sell them nationwide. And that the entire division is run completely virtually. And a lot of the companies that are resistant to that adaptation, unfortunately, are going to be left behind, overtaken by the companies that want it cutting edge. And if I don't have to have a rep in an office using an internet and a laptop, they can run somewhere between 7 and 9 appointments a day and never have to leave the comfort of the office.
You mentioned that you have a whole division dedicated to virtual sales. I'm sure it's not the majority of your leads, but what percentage of your appointments are virtual, and do you feel like competitors out there are doing the same thing as you, or are you kind of at the forefront of continuing to run leads virtually, despite the pandemic being mostly behind us from a sales and marketing perspective?
A small percentage of our business, maybe 10%, is done virtually, but we have an entire rehash division also that's only done virtually. So you already bought the lead, why not have somebody follow up, do a manager follow-up call, find out if the rep was on time, polite, courteous, were they getting other estimates, what was their reasoning for not going with the company the first time, and then that rehash specialist is actually incentivized with a few other discounts to be able to, resurrect that lead and turn it into revenue that otherwise would have been lost. We're seeing tremendous results. And I think other companies, I know they're doing doing the same from the last conference that I was at, but some of them just are unwilling to change it, and they don't want to adapt to the times, to the new normal, and want to continue doing things the way that they did, which is sending a rep out in a car and driving out and knocking on a door, and that way's never going to change. But you have to at least start to adapt to that and have parts of your business that then, grow into that.
Yeah, so it makes a lot of sense what you're doing now. But do you see a drop in closing percentage when comparing your in-home sales calls to virtual sales calls?
It is a little bit of a lower closing percentage. On those, we're probably somewhere around the 35 to 40% mark, instead of the 55 or 60 we're used to seeing in person. And a lot of that is just building trust, through a screen versus doing it in person, right? But I'd rather take 35 to 40% of what we have and be able to continue to work on that and show that the model works than have 0% of nothing.
Absolutely. So what do you see for the future of home improvement sales, Ian? Do you see more homeowners requesting virtual consultations in the immediate future, a slow evolution to a more virtual landscape, or do you see a reversal and things going back to the way they always used to be?
I think you're going to see a hybrid model, and I think that hybrid model is going to be here to stay. Just much like a lot of the workforce is continuing to stay in a hybrid model. It leads to increased efficiency, it increased lower cost, or it leads to lower cost. Much less overhead, and it allows you to stretch your geographic outreach in terms of your geo from your office and make it wider. Typically most companies, if they don't have satellite branches, they go 90 miles, maybe 120 miles from, where their office is located. Well, now, with you selling virtually and most lending being all done electronically, you can, change your entire business model and grow geographically, exponentially, as long as you have an installation, solution in place for that.
Okay, Ian, let's address the topic of technology and sales. Are there any tech programs or apps that you're using in business to sell more jobs right now?
For some of our salespeople that are Android based, they use a company or a product called Leap, which is fantastic for digital contracts. And then I have it backwards. Our Android based people use One Click Contractor. Our Apple iOS based people use Leap. And that's fantastic. It allows you to do all of the contracts digitally. You don't have to worry about your administratively, we'll call it discombobulated salespeople losing, any of the contract pages or not filling them out right or not be able to read their handwriting. I would recommend an app to all the sales managers and all of the, home improvement professionals that you're going to partner with, and they're going to be listening to this, to use an app called Rilla, Rilla. It allows you to do a virtual ride along. It records the entire sales presentation from the sales rep, and you're able to hear the dialogue back and forth for the entire demonstration between the homeowner and the salesperson. So if you're a VP like I am, with well over 20 salespeople, I can't possibly ride along on every lead with them and be able to help troubleshoot their demo or their close or issues with, decline in a closing percentage. But with Rilla, I can sit there, in the evening, and I can listen to those recordings and go through every step of the process and be able to troubleshoot the things that they could have done better. Plus, Rilla allows you to upload your sales demonstration, and if the sales reps vary from it, you get an automatic alert in real time on the app on your phone, so you can hear it and listen to it and know that your process isn't being followed because they missed something based upon their AI voice recognition technology.
I know all about Rilla, and it seems like a super powerful tool that can help a business owner or sales manager improve the sales performance of their team. I think that new technology is being introduced to this industry at a rapid pace, and contractors have to be prepared to try new tech tools sooner than they have in the past so they don't get left behind. Do you agree with this?
I 100% agree with that. And I think that unfortunately in our business, a lot of companies continue to be antiquated. They have their, Tuesday morning sales meetings, or they have their, sales powwows, whether it be a conference call or something like that, if they are a little bit more, technologically sound. But for me, I have those meetings every day after listening to the Rilla app so that I can run more leads every day. I don't need to bring everybody in, have a sales meeting every week. I mean, we do a sales summit with our entire staff every month, once a month. But I see myself being able to run way more leads than having to bring all of my reps in or have them come in for sit downs and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying is, and I've had conversations with other contractors who mentioned this, implementing new technology is all about enhancing your efficiency as a business, right? Speed to lead, speed to sell, speed to install, whatever it may be. Is that what you're seeing?
The fastest one to that lead is going to win. So we use companies, especially like Hatch, which is a big one, that will automatically text and email the customer the very second that lead comes in. Some people are busy. Some people are working from home, or some people just want to hop on, their smartphone real quick and book an appointment to have their kitchen or their bathroom or their roof looked at, and don't have time to, be on a 15 or 20 minute in-depth phone call if it were get to that point.
Ian, this has been great. I think my biggest takeaway is you're adapting to new demands of customers who are super busy and who might not have as much time as they used to. Rather than try to force something on them, you're implementing technology tools that are helping you reach them faster, book appointments faster, and sell them much sooner than you used to. Ian Foltz, everyone, Vice President of American Remodeling Enterprises and Epoxy Floor Experts. Ian, thank you so much for joining me today. I wish you all the best in the future.
Oh, my pleasure, Drew. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Rock Stars of Remodeling. As promised, there were some amazing takeaways that you can use to build a better business for yourself, your employees, and your customers. If you've got an idea for a future episode or a guest I should invite onto the show, I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to follow Rock Stars of Remodeling on Spotify or SoundCloud. And click the like button on this episode. Until next time, rock on.